Here, this is going to be a video discussing the Divergence play I have been discussing a lot on Twitter. It tends to be seen either a fake breakout or an impulse low. Before I get into it though, if you're not following me on Twitter, make sure you're following me over there. I post lots of valuable information over there, such as daily plans, clips of the DOM, and other cool stuff. So make sure you're following me over there and you have my notifications turned on. Also, if you're looking to use an online prop firm, I highly recommend using Apex Trader Funding. The link for this will also be down below. Now that that's out of the way, we can go ahead and dive on into what these divergence plays are, how I play them, the risk and stuff like that, and I'll show a couple of clips. So, like I said earlier, they tend to be seen in fake breakouts and impulse lows. If you don't know what a fake breakout is or an impulse low, you can go ahead and pause it and just read this real quick. And this is what an impulse low is. So let's pretty much go ahead and discuss divergence fake breakouts. So what exactly is it? We see one instrument shitting the bed, preferably the NASDAQ. ES is putting in a fake breakout, while NQ is 30 points off of its highs. The bigger the divergence, the better it is. It works in balanced and trending markets. Once again, I tend to like when ES is weaker. The NASDAQ is weaker and ES is stronger. So the location for this trade for me tends to be a new high of day put in or something like that. So a side note, if ES keeps on putting on new highs and NQ is starting to get filled with buyers, we tend to see NQ catch up and ES will continue to lead the way. I'm still kind of recording clips for this and kind of determining when to stop trying to trade the divergence. Something I've noticed is once ES puts in a new high twice, the idea slowly fades away, and this is kind of where market profile comes into play. You look at where the market is trading and look at the structure. So the risk on this trade is we should try this idea 2 times max. Some of the best trades that I've taken based on these plays, they tend to work right away on the first attempt. So pretty much what happens is ES keeps on putting in new highs and it's not worth it, and NQ will eventually catch up. On an aggressive entry, my stop loss will be 10 to 12 ticks, and on my standard entry, it would be about 6 to 8 ticks. And then for the divergence impulse low, we see one instrument leading the way, preferably the NASDAQ. ES puts in an impulse low while the NASDAQ is 30 points off of its lows. Once again, the bigger the divergence, the stronger it is. Works in balanced and trending markets. Once again, this is a play that is better on the S&P, so the location will be low of day on it. Side note, if ES keeps on putting new lows and NQ is starting to get stuffed with sellers, we tend to see NQ catch up and ES just completely shits the bed even more. So once again, going off this idea, the risk on this trade, we should try this idea 2 times the max. Some of the best trades, again, work on the first attempt. Aggressive entry would be around 10 to 12 ticks on this, and standard is 6 to 8 ticks. Where is the idea wrong? Like I said, if the S&P keeps on putting in new lows, the idea probably won't work and the NASDAQ will catch up. Need to work on the first attempt, and the max that I'll try this idea is 2 times. So now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and play some different clips for this, showing the impulse lows and stuff like that. So in this clip right over here, ES is trading. You just see we put in that new low, have thick volume here, swept a low, 312, 275, 210, all this, selling down here. And the current low on the NASDAQ is 110. So we're about 35 points off of the lows. And then, like I said, you see that downtick, you see ES bid, this 4,000 area. I'll just go ahead and fast forward a little here, but now the NASDAQ's, like I said, about 35 points off of its lows. ES came in, put this new low. See, perfect example of an impulse low too. You see this cluster of volume start to build up here. Volume becomes chunky. They sweep it lower, give us the nice taper in volume, and then they rebid the 4000s. So just let this finish playing out. Now NASDAQ testing its overnight high, 45 points off of it, off the low that was currently put in. And then I just wait to see how these 4000s react when we come back to bid them. Because once again, if you noticed on the impulse low, first part where I said you can pause the video, you wait for a rebid, and you want to see how it reacts on a rebid. You don't want to be the first one to jump in and trade or not. You'd rather just wait. So now we're over here testing these 4000 halves. You see us quickly tick back up. So I just go ahead and hit in right there at 4000 halves. 138 just 184, but we just quickly, we rebid those 4000s right away. See the buyer step into the market, 153, 202, 113, 177. You can see the sellers still trying, but they're failing to take price lower. Especially look at the NASDAQ now. It's trying to bid the overnight high. See these aggressive buy orders too over here, 61, 75. Come back down to test the 155, 55 to sell into it, but it's just bidding. And then this thing ripped. This ended up, I believe we saw about a 50-point move off of this idea. So that's that. This one over here is from Replay. Thank you to Kudos for sending me these next two clips. But over here, NASDAQ, once again, it's about 40 points off of its current lows. CES, sellers trying to stuff it right here. Only 2 to print, 200. So now you kind of want to just see, you see aggressive selling into these 72s, 260, 498 with a buyer matching at the 72 and a quarter, 498 to sell there, but 470 to buy. And then you can see how buyers are just continuing to throw aggressive size. 254, 180, 112. So they're still trying to sell it, 230, but they can't really take it any lower. And then you still see this nice buying from the buyers over here into the 75, 330. So, you can get in on this, you can get in over here. And then see how ES puts in a new low right there, and then it just instantly rebids. So you could have just waited for like the rebid of 72s even. You risk 8 ticks on this. So about you push stop loss would be 70. Still see sellers trying to get aggressive, but buyers were able to rebid these prices fast. And once again, you have to keep your eyes on the NASDAQ and look at where it's trading. Currently trading 720, much stronger than ES. And then you can see ES finally bids these 75s. Only 12 to print into that low, into the 70 halves. 316, 174, 176, 308. All these guys are now trapped, and then you have to see them start to unwind, and then this thing just rotates higher, and you still see the buyer coming in at market, 270, 201, 202. So they're still showing great size and great aggression, but perfect play. And like I said, these tend to be good for about like a minimum of 8 points. So you risk 2 points. It's a 1 to 4 risk to reward. Buyer still showing great size, 693 to buy, 924. Sellers selling 434 through 516 there. But once again, keeping your eyes on the NASDAQ, you can see where it's trading, and you can just lean on this. And this ended up ripping, I believe about like 20 points higher. So that's that example right over there. This is going to be another impulse low example. So once again, look at where we're trading on the S&P, and then look at where we're trading on the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is currently trading about 50 points off of its lows, if I can recall, and then ES is currently testing its lows. You see this low put in over here with only 35 to print at this low. So now you kind of want to see if they can read these 75s and then possibly lean on it. But by the way, if you want to get the most out of this, I highly recommend pulling up a chart, a candlestick chart, just to get full context of what's going on. Because once again, just looking at the DOM like this might be a little tricky. But anyways, you still see this large aggressive selling over here. Buyers couldn't really bid the 75s right away, so it should have been your sign to wait a little. 156. So it's clear that there's sellers still throwing size into this. There's also a buyer here. See the quick downtick, 125 to print into the 70. No real bids still yet. Gonna wait a little, 359. Buyers starting to step in at market over here, 199 to print, 291, 235, 697. So it's starting to get a bit chunky over here into this low. So you should wait for the sweep. Sweep. NQ still off 30 off of its lows. This right here isn't what you'd want to see. This, you need to see a nice taper in volume. So, you should wait for the sweep over here. See if they can rebid these 70s after they sweep it. Or if they sweep it, do they continue to make new lows? It's all about just watching it. So you can see they sweep it, quickly rebid these 71s. If you look at what happened with the NASDAQ too, just ripped about 20 points. Only 4 to print over here into the 69 and 50. See the buyers start to step in. Sellers still trying to throw size, 365 to sell. But given over here, someone just sold 1,000 lots into the 70s. But if you look at the reaction we got, only, went down 2 ticks. So now this guy's trapped. All of these sellers are trapped. Now we're going to have to see them unwind. Now, if you remember these 75s, when we were testing it before, we couldn't bid it. So now we'd ideally want to see us bid. And then just let this thing rotate higher. I believe we ended up testing like 38.95s or something like that after this. But yeah, just you got to keep your eyes on the NASDAQ and ES at the same time and look at where they're trading. And then this is going to be the final example because don't want to have too many in here, but some context once again. The low that was currently put in over here was about, I believe it was about 340, 335. My pivot for this session was 356. Yeah, 356 because it was the area where the seller stepped in multiple times before, provided a nice sell-off. So we're currently bidding it, and then if you look at ES, clear that someone's selling it. So once again, the NASDAQ is currently trading about 40 points off of its low that's put in for the day. 45 points, while ES is trading near its lows. And we're currently above my pivot, so I'm leaning bullish. So ideally, I want to see this thing sweep the current low, and then for us to rebid 900. And then I'll lean on this for longs. This trade was good for 95 points. This was 2 days before quad witching, so everything was just kind of wacky. Even I didn't expect it to be a 90 point was a 95-point move off of this. But yeah, so as you can see, the volume over here is a little chunky, so ideally you'd like to wait for the sweep. See the nice little sweep over there with some exhaustion, only 65, 39, 92, and 35, but you don't see any market bias over here, indicating that it was just a stop run and exhaustion. And then I waited to see how we reacted to these 3,900, see how we bid. So you can see there's a buy over here, 115, 196. Just want to wait to see how we react. If we can come back to these 90s, I mean not 90s, these OOs. So on this trade, I actually jumped the gun a little. I hit it into like these 89. Actually, I think I get in like 00 and a quarter, something like that. Stop loss, new low of day. Let's see. Just wait for me to hit in. You can see a buyer over here matching it. 115. Seller's still throwing size. So I actually hit in right there, and if you notice, I definitely jumped the gun a little, because especially these OOs, they weren't really bidding. You kind of see how buyers and sellers are still exchanging size there. And my stop loss is actually these 97 halves, and they missed me by like one tick or something like that. Or maybe my stop loss was like 97 and 3/4, but once again, you see weak prints from buyers. I'm from sellers, 44, 33. And then you see how we reacted just now to that, the OOs, the way we rebid them. Even then, you had the opportunity to get back in, and that ideally would have been the better entry instead of me jumping the gun there. But yeah, so this is just a few examples. I'm currently cutting and adding some more, but just a quick little recap of how I personally play them. For divergence impulse lows, I like to see the NASDAQ being stronger with ES putting in a new low. I tend to try these ideas twice. More than that, I noticed that ES continues to sell off, and then the NASDAQ eventually catches up. And then on divergence fake breakouts, I like to lean on shorting ES when it's stronger than the NASDAQ. Once again, I like to try the idea twice. More than that, I noticed that ES continues to lead the way, and the NASDAQ will eventually catch up. But based on the examples that I've gotten so far, it offers a minimum of about 4R on it. So even with you taking it twice, if you get stopped out the first time, you'll still be able to make money. And then eventually, if it is a true divergence, and then ES eventually catches up, you can make, if you're risking 2 points, you can make 20 points on your runner. So it's a 1 to 10 risk to reward. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, reach out to me on Twitter, and I'll see you guys around. Take care, everyone.